Malvasia is a group of wine grape varieties grown historically in the Mediterranean region, Balearic Islands, Canary Islands and the island of Madeira, but now grown in many of the winemaking regions of the world. In the past, the names Malvasia, Malvazia, and Malmsey have been used interchangeably for Malvasia-based wines. However, in modern oenology, Malmsey is now used almost exclusively for a sweet variety of Madeira wine made from the Malvasia grape. Grape varieties in this family include Malvasia bianca, Malvasia di Schierano, Malvasia negra, Malvasia nera, Malvasia near Brindisi, and a number of other varieties. Malvasia wines are produced in Italy, Slovenia, Croatia, Corsica, the Iberian Peninsula, the Canary Islands, the island of Madeira, California, Arizona, New Mexico, Australia, and Brazil. These grapes are used to produce white table wines, dessert wines, and fortified wines of the same name, or are sometimes used as part of a blend of grapes, such as in Van Santo. History. Most ampelographers believe that the Malvasia family of grapes are of ancient origin, most likely originating in Crete, Greece. The name Malvasia is generally thought to derive from Monemvasia, a medieval and early Renaissance Byzantine fortress on the coast of Laconia. Known in Italian as Malvasia, this port would have acted as a trading center for wine produced in the eastern Peloponnese and perhaps in some of the Cyclades. During the Middle Ages, the Venetians became so prolific in the trading of Malvasia wine that merchant wine shops in Venice were known as Malvasia. A competing theory holds that the name is derived from the district of Malvasia, near the city of Heraklion on Crete. In any case, Malmsey was one of the three major wines exported from Greece in medieval times. It is alleged that when Edward IV of England convicted his brother, George Plantagenet, 1st Duke of Clarence, of high treason, his private execution consisted of being drowned in a butt of Malmsey wine, which is dramatized in Shakespeare's Richard III. Both Monemvasia and Candida have lent the names to modern grape varieties. In Greece, there is a variety known as Monemvasia, evidently named after the port, as they're now grown primarily in the Cyclades. In Western Europe, a common variety of Malvasia is known as Malvasia bianca di Candia, from its reputed origin in that area. The Monemvasia grape was long thought to be ancestral to the Western European Malvasia varieties, but recent DNA analysis does not suggest a close relationship between Monemvasia and any Malvasia varieties. DNA analysis does, however, suggest that the Atiri wind grape is ancestral to Malvasia. Grape varieties and wine regions. Most varieties of Malvasia are closely related to Malvasia bianca. One notable exception is the variety known as Malvasia di Candia, which is a distinctly different sub-variety of Malvasia. Malvasia bianca is grown widely throughout the world in places like Italy, the San Joaquin Valley of California, the Greek islands of Paros and Saros, the Canary Islands, Rioja and Navarre. Throughout central Italy, Malvasia is often blended with Trebbiano to add flavor and texture to the wine. In Rioja, it performs a similar function when blended with Viura. Croatian varieties Malvazia-based. Malvazia-based got the name after peninsula of Istria shared between Croatia, Slovenia and Italy. It represents one of the main white wines of Croatian Istria and the North Dalmatian coast. The vine was introduced to the area by Venetian merchants who brought cuttings from Greece. The Malvasia is called Malvazia in Croatian language. It is the main white wine in the region. The Dalmatian Marastina is identical to the Italian variety Malvasia lunga. Italian varieties. Malvasia Istriana in Italy. This wine is grown in the Friuli-Venezia Giulia region in Collio d'Oc and Isonzo d'Oc. The name comes from the Istria Peninsula spanning over Croatia, Slovenia and Italy. The vine was introduced to the area by Venetian merchants who brought cuttings from Greece. Malvasia Istriana is also found in the Colli Piacentini region of Emilia, where it is used to make sparkling wine known locally as Champagnino or Little Champagne. Malvasia di Grottaferrata, Malvasia di Bozza, Malvasia di Planigia in the 19th century and early 20th century. Sweet passito-style dessert wines made from the Malvasia grape were held in high esteem and considered among Italy's finest wines. Following World War II, lack of interest in the consumer market led to a sharp decline in plantings, with many varieties on the verge of extinction. Today, only a few dedicated producers are still making these Malvasia dessert wines from local varieties, including the Malvasia di Grottaferrata in Lazio, Malvasia di Bozza and Malvasia di Planigia in Sardinia, Malvasia del Lipari since the 1980s. Dessert wines made from the Malvasia del Lipari variety has seen a resurgence in interest on the volcanic Aeolian Islands off the northeast coast of Sicily, with distinctive orange notes. This Sicilian wine saw its peak of popularity just before the phylloxera epidemic, when the more than 2.6 million gallons was produced annually. Malvasia nera. While most varieties of Malvasia produce white wine, Malvasia nera is a red wine variety that is used primarily as a blending grape in Italy, being valued for the dark color and aromatic qualities it can add to a wine. The Piedmont region is the only significant produce to make varietal Malvasia nera, with 2 DOC zones covering less than 250 acres: Malvasia di Casorzo and Malvasia di Castelnuovo Don Bosco. In the Puglia regions of Brindisi and Lecce it is blended with Negro Moro, while in the 1970s and 1980s, it was a frequent blending partner of Sangiovese in Tuscany. In recent times, Cabernet Sauvignon has been supplanting Malvasia nera in Tuscany in both planting and in use as a blending partner with Sangiovese. Other regions growing Malvasia nera include the Bolzano region of Alto Adige, Sardinia, Basilicata and Calabria. Malvasia nera wines are often noted for the rich chocolate notes with black plums and floral aromas. Malvasia di Candida, Malvasia puntonata, Malvasia di Lazio. The Lazio region of Frascati is the source of the majority of plantings of Malvasia di Candida, a distinct sub-variety of Malvasia that is not part of the Malvasia bianca branch of the grape family. It is most often used for blending with the related Malvasia puntonata and Malvasia di Lazio, being more highly prized due to the higher acidity and tendency to produce less flabby wines. Portuguese varieties. In Portugal, there are no fewer than 12 varieties known as Malvasia, which may or may not be related to true Malvasia. Malvasia fina. In 2004, there was nearly 18,533 acres of Malvasia fina grown in Portugal, where it is also known as Bole. Malvasia fina is found in the Douro, where it is a permitted grape in the production of white port. It is also found in the Tejo and the Douro DOC, where it is grown on vineyard land located at high elevations. Malvasia Candida. Malvasia Candida has been historically grown on the island of Madeira, being used to produce the sweetest style of Madeira wine, known Malmsey. Malvasia is believed to be the palomino grown in Spain for sherry production, which may be related to the Malvasia family. In Portugal, Malvasia is grown in the Douro, Baras and Lisboa region. Malvasia Candida is a synonym used in the Douro for an obscure white wine grape variety known as Vital that may or may not be related to true Malvasia. Malvasia da Trinchera is a synonym used in the Douro for the white port grape Folgaçao that may or may not be related to true Malvasia. Slovene varietists Malvazia are simply Malvazia. In Slovenian history, the Malvasia grape is grown in Koper area, especially on the Balearic, Skokjin, Cortina and Labor. It is also grown in Italy and Croatia. The vine was introduced to the area in the 14th century by Venetian merchants who brought cuttings from Greece. Over-matured grapes give a dessert wine with non-fermented sugars and high alcohol level called sweet Malvasia. Common synonyms. The various varieties of Malvasia are known under a wide range of synonyms, including Malvasia in Germany, Malvazia and Malvasia in Eastern Europe. Despite its similarly sounding name, the French grape varieties referred to variously as Malvasia are not related to Malvasia. The one possible exception may be the Malvasia of Corsica that ampelographers believe is actually the Vermentino grape that may be related to Malvasia. Other synonyms for the various sub-varieties of Malvasia include Uvea greca, Rogel, Subirat, Blanqueroya, Blancariga, Tobia, Cagazal and Blancarioya. Viticulture. While differences among the many sub-varieties of Malvasia exist, there are some common viticultural characteristics of the family. Malvasia tends to prefer dry climates with vineyards planted on sloping terrain of well-drained soils. In damp conditions, the vine can be prone to developing various grape diseases such as mildew and rot. The rootstock is moderately vigorous and capable of producing high yields if not kept in check. Wines. Given the broad expanse of the Malvasia family, generalizations about the Malvasia wine are difficult to pinpoint. Most varieties of Malvasia are derived from Malvasia bianca, which is characterized by its deep color, noted aromas and the presence of some residual sugar. The red varieties of Malvasia tend to make wines with pale, pinkish to light red color. In the youth, Malvasia wines are characterized by their heavy body that is often described as round or fat and soft texture in the mouth. Common aroma notes associated with Malvasia include peaches, apricots and white currants. Red Malvasia wines are characterized by richness and chocolate notes. Fortified Malvasia, such as Madeira, are noted for their intense smoky notes and sharp acidity. As Malvasia ages, the wines tend to take on more nutty aromas and flavors, though many Malvasia have a short lifespan of only a few years after vintage. Malmsey. In the past, the names Malvasia and Malmsey occurred interchangeably. As of 2014, however, Malvasia generally refers to unfortified white table or dessert wines produced from this grape, while Malmsey refers to a sweet variety of Madeira wine, though this is also sometimes called Malvasia or Malvazia. Further confusion results from the fact that, in the recent past, the term Malmsey referred to any very sweet Madeira wine, regardless of the grape variety involved. This resulted from the devastation of Madeiran vineyards by phylloxera in the late 19th century, which greatly reduced the production of Malvasia and other noble grape varieties on Madeira for the next century. As a result, most non-vintage dated Malmsey was made from the widely grown Tinta Negra or even from fox grape varieties. This changed when Portugal entered the European Union in 1986. EU regulations required that any wine bearing the name Malmsey contain at least 85% Malvasia. Malvasia grapes. Even further confusion results from the fact that vintage-dated Malmseys are often labeled Malvasia or Malvazia, probably because the relatively rare vintage Malvasias were always made with Malvasia grapes, even when most non-vintage Malmsey came from lesser varieties. Some companies occasionally use the name Malvasia or Malvazia for non-vintage Madeiras, especially those primarily marketed to Portuguese-speaking countries. English historical tradition associates Malmsey wine with the death of George, Duke of Clarence, brother of King Edward IV. Following his conviction for treason, he was privately executed at the Tower on the 18th of February 1478, by tradition in the Bowyer Tower, and soon after the event, the rumour gained ground that he was drowned in a butt of Malmsey wine.